welcome to the Thursday show here on the Frontline Gaming Network. My name is Paul Murphy, your host. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
Hey, happy holiday season, all you cool cats and kittens.
And hark the Herald Angels sing Dustin Henshaw is in the brightest spot in this house.
What is going on?
Welcome to the show. The chat is already on fire. Thanks a lot for joining us. If you are just joining us, we do this show live each and every week here on the Frontline Gaming Network, where we talk about the biggest and best tournaments coming up over the weekend. We talk about how to basically how to beat the meta, what the meta is, and y'all are defining it. Can't wait to be talking about these events coming up towards the end of the year. It's been an amazing one. This is not our last show. We're gonna have more shows coming up. So don't fret.
There's no breaks. As long as there are tournaments to talk about, even if there's only like one or two, like even if there's like no GT events and we have to like talk about an RTT, possibly, maybe, we will do that. We will continue to put on a show for you guys.
Well, we like hanging out with everybody. I mean, that's it. So, look, our mission here is, of course, to talk about the meta and talk about the tournaments and talk about the ITC rankings and how everyone's progressing, and then, how to engage with the tournament scene if you are new to it or want to get into it or whatever. But I also like hanging out.
Me too. I also like how Dustin can just miraculously start the show within the orbit of the sun and then step away. And now he's on the dark side of the moon now.
Listen, I can go into the shadows whenever I want, buddy. Return to the shadows is what I do.
Slapping down your CP.
That's a special ability. That's pretty awesome. So this week we only have 2 tournaments to cover. So that will either mean that maybe the show's a little shorter, or we just ramble on a little bit more about them, which is awesome. Or maybe we have an extended fuego. I don't want to.
This is the calm before the storm, though, because there's a lot of tournaments that are coming up in the next little while. So the next few weeks will be a little slow for our coverage, but then it's going to get insane.
1st of January happens, and then it's no breaks till the end of the season. It is crazy.
We do have 2 tournaments to talk about here. Is Rise of the Empire Grand Tournament and then the France Tournament Circuit Inauguration. We can unpack that. Is that the full name of the tournament, or is this the first tournament?
That's literally the full name of the tournament.
Is that translated? Does it mean something else in French?
I'm assuming it's the first of their season. The first of their
circuit. You think
Adam
translated a French name into that? He would have made it up before he did that, I think.
I did. Just so you know, one of the reasons I didn't do a third event was that there wasn't another 50-plus player GT level event happening this weekend, but also because it took me 3 times as long to negotiate the French lists because I had to get them all translated. Like, what is an accumulator? So there's a guy who's playing the Inari list that has just jet bikes. He's got tons of min units of jet bikes, and trying to figure out French for Shroud Runner, French for Wind Runner, French for Reaver jet bike, French for Farseer Sky Runner, Warlock Sky Runner. I was just like, huh? Okay.
You should have just put them all in French here and we should have read them off.
There you go.
And just let the people figure it out. But
then
I would have to read it out.
Let the closed captions on YouTube,
Yeah, let the closed captions. Yeah, exactly.
Lean into the ego. Just let the other guide us.
Look, we'll get there. We got some other tournaments to talk about. It looks like our man Joe's going to be at this Rise of the Empire Grand Tournament. Which is a 76-player 5-round event in Houston, Texas. Houston, they have some great chicken fried steaks there, country fried steaks and gravy. Some of the largest in the world, some of the best barbecue.
Wait, how is it a chicken fried steak?
What?
How is it a steak, but it's also chicken?
We have so much to teach on this show. And we might have the time to do it only with 2 events.
This is the show to do it on, right?
I know.
I don't know if it's a meme yet for the audience, but whenever I hear Paul take another breath after he said the place where an event is, I get ready for some information about the food.
Yeah.
I just get ready.
It's usually chicken, fried, hot dogs, tacos,
wings,
burger. Yeah.
Look, I love to eat.
Burger, yeah.
I love to eat and play Warhammer. This is like some of my 2 favorite things. It's amazing. So here in Houston, I've actually been there several times. Cool place.
Well, I hope so.
Lots of great players around there.
The food there.
Yeah, and then here's the part of the show where we actually run down what you're going to see. What are those players playing at this event? What's different from last week? Dustin, take it away.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say what's different from last week.
That was.
No, we'll figure that out along the way.
Oh, okay. Dustin,
if you're new to the show, what we
to the show, yeah. Okay. I will handle it from here. I got it now. All right. So for the Imperial Super Faction, we're looking at one Adeptus Titanicus. Oh my God, there's what's different from last week, right there. We already figured it out. It's right at the top of the list. 6 Sisters of Battle, 3 Custodes, 4 Astra Militarum, 2 Grey Knights, and 4 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 1 Dark Angel, 1 Ultramarine, 3 Salamanders, 1 White Scar, 2 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 1 Chaos Soup, 9 Chaos Space Marines, which is 3 Emperor's Children, 3 Creations of Bile, 2. I got Black Legion, thank you, and 1 World Eater. Okay, I got there.
Well done.
2,000 Suns, 1 Death Guard, 6 Demons, and 4 Renegade Knights.
Wait a second. Is that 2 individual 1,000 Suns armies, or is that 2 legions?
So I didn't check these ones. I did for the French event because there was a high number of T-Suns. So I went in and checked how many were actual pure T-Suns and how many had a little demon rider on the back of the wagon. But I do believe actually I have no idea. I was going to make.
He just said 2.
He was going. You saw him going on the road. I was like, actually, I did all these things. You know what? I cannot justify this. I thought I could if I talked long enough, but I didn't check
these.
Sorry,
I didn't check these two. They could be. So I do. A lot of people call T-Suns just list them as Zinch. But for me, Zinch could be anything. But if I list them as T-Suns, we can assume probably about at least 50%, if not 2/3. I'm probably going to have flamers in there as well.
So is 2,000 Suns, but 30 flamers is what we're talking about.
Very, very probable.
Which is cool, by the way. No slight. Just pointing out.
We want to know how
it's a thing out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Xenos, there's 2 Necrons, 2 Orcs, 3 Tau, and 3 Votan. Wow, Xenos get a nice spread. Hive Mind, 8 Tyranids. That's it.
Yep.
Eldari, 1 Drukhari, 1 Harlequin, 1 Asturiani, and 1 Ynnari, which means that the faction podium is a Chaos Space Marines topping it off with 9, Tyranids in second with 8, and then Sisters and Demons in third with 6. That's actually a decent spread. I like this spread a lot. The Chaos Space Marines, they've been crushing the podium lately, though, in terms of representation.
Absolutely. They are, well, I can't remember the last time we had a 50, 60 plus player event that didn't have Chaos Space Marines on the podium. Since their book dropped, after about 3 to 4 weeks after their book dropped, it's just been Chaos Space Marines as one of the top factions in representation every single week.
Yeah. I love it. It's the book. I'm glad the book has some legs in it to where people can get all these different factions out of them and feel like they can bring them to the table. Now, there are some similarities between some of the list, of course, but whatever. They're outside of that first 300 points of what is potentially Abaddon. It could be anybody's game.
Yeah, I feel like you still think that Abaddon's an auto include. I'm seeing him lose his representation in a lot of lists now. Like he's still really good, but is he good enough as an auto include now? Depending on the list, I think.
Auto include, I do not believe. I don't believe he's the auto include anymore. I think there's enough armies that have tech for him and tech for his like that he's no longer the be all end all. He's still extremely ridiculously good. Especially in Black Legion, like I'm liking him more and more and more as just in Black Legion, and then the other ones. Everything else, make a list that makes sense to have Abby in it. I actually really don't like him in Creations of Bile anymore. I actually kind of don't. I'm 50-50 on him in Emperor's Children as well. I think most of the time you should take him in Emperor's Children. But things like Word Bearers can do without. Like I said, Creations of Bile I think is actually better off without him. Just have more Creations of Bile trading pieces. Yeah. Try and play the Sisters game. But everyone else, I mean, world's your oyster. Take him if he makes sense.
Those are great points, and I think we've actually seen that on the shows before, where we've diagnosed some lists that did not have Abaddon. Just the number of units that you felt like in an army, it was exactly like you're describing.
One of the top players in attendance, Kit Smith-Hanna, the second list we'll be reviewing, who's ranked second in the ITC in the Texas region. He's got a Creations of Bile list with no Abaddon, and you'll see just how much more list you get for the buck without Abby.
I love it that in the chat they're talking about what day it is, because we have such a we cross across all time zones and all areas of the world.
It's really confusing because the name of the show doesn't help us clear it up for them, because if they're in different parts of the world, it might not actually be the Thursday show.
I'm on the Friday show. I don't know what you guys have called it.
Exactly. Even Adam himself was on the Friday show.
So if you're joining us from the future or the past, again, we also appreciate that. But it is cool. But again, if you're only listening to us after the fact, I would keep calling back to the chat and want to say what's up to everybody that's in there. Artemis Steve, Pearisburger. We saw a Big Pock C says they don't like chicken fried steaks, which I can't even reconcile that in my brain right now. But Nikki D. Williams,
If
everybody's
you're
saying
not
what's
watching
up.
the video right
I-
now, you wouldn't see how much that
Animated.
pain
Animated balls gets
sat in his
like,
face.
Nurgle Matt, but we've got a great chat community. So if you are listening to us after the fact, maybe on one of these Thursdays, come and hang out with us and them in the chat. It's a fun time.
Is it chicken fried? So I had a crumbed southern pork loin, a pork chop in New Orleans last time I was there, like this time last year, and it was just that with some like lettuce, some hot sauce, 2 pieces of bread, eat it. It was incredible. Is that like a chicken fried steak?
So it is a breaded and fried piece
Yeah.
of meat, fried as if you were frying a piece of chicken.
That freaking that pork was like the. I've been in Japan. I've had chicken katsu. I've had pork katsu, like crumb cutlets, all sorts. Never be amazed by how different and how different tasting a crumbed, side of something can be. It's a good time.
I didn't know that chicken could be really cut into the way of a steak, though. Isn't it just like?
Oh
breast,
no, it's
wings, and
definitely
legs?
steak. It's sometimes it's beef
So why
or
is it
whatever.
chicken? Why is it chicken?
Because look, because it's perfection. That's what it is. He's got to,
It's perfection. Oh,
Wait,
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Here. I'm even confused here. So it's called chicken fried steak, but there's no chicken involved. You're just
No.
breading. You're
See?
breading the steak.
now
as if it was fried
Adam's
chicken.
with you on the confusion.
Yes, that's what it is. You got to get a steak and you bread it as if it was a fried chicken, and then
Why don't you
Yes.
just call it a breaded steak? Or a
that doesn't
fried
sound
bread-
near as attractive, does
What?
it?
breaded
just a
fried
breaded-
steak.
We can't call it chicken if there's no chicken in it.
If you put all the chicken seasoning on it, why is it called a pumpkin spice latte? There's no pumpkin involved, brother.
There's pumpkin spice in it. You get to how do you make pumpkin spice? But how do you make
No,
pumpkin
we're-
spice?
We're
Who
answering the
decided
hard
it was pumpkin
questions.
spice? Who gets to have this? Fine. Moving on. Top players
Let
in
me get us
attendance.
back on track. And this is also the part of the show where we look at some of the top players in attendance. And when we say top players, we sometimes look at either interesting list or of lists that kind of jump out to us. Some things like, wow, are they really trying to meta break, or are they trying to meme it up over there? Or also we might consider who's highly ranked in a particular faction or in the overall rank in the ITC for whatever things. As we know, we're barreling towards what is going to be the championships at the LVO, hosted by Frontline Gaming. And so we're going to call these players out and see how they're attacking the meta.
So the way, exactly what Paul said. If you are in the top 10 in your region of the event that we're covering, you will get your list broken down. I'll break down. If there's 3 of those of top 10 in attendance, I'll break down all 3. If there's any past that, I'll start looking for innovators. I'll start looking for spicy, crazy, nice tech, etc., etc. The whole top 5 of the Texas region is in attendance at this one. So I've got all 5 lists for your viewing pleasure. First one up is Colin McDade. He is first in the US Southwest. He's playing Bloody Rose Sisters. He's got a battalion, Canoness, Missionary, Morven Vile, 3x5 Sisters, 2 Crusaders, 2 Death Cult Assassins, Repentia Superior, Dogmata, Hospitaller, to make the full 6 freaking characters that they kind of tote around and somehow don't give up Assassinate. 3 units of 8 Adventure, 9 7/7 Zephyrim, and 3x5 Retributors with a Rhino to tote along. This is the quintessential Sisters list. I think this is just about as good as it gets.
You
And it's
notice
pretty
the
much
big thing it's missing again? Celestine. She's just
Yeah,
not in the
yeah.
list anymore.
Yeah.
She's just gone.
you just get a few more bits and pieces when you don't take Celestine. Why do you think she's been pushed out, mate?
I feel like she doesn't add enough value to the list in comparison to the other things that you see people bring in. This one, the Repentia squads are bigger, the Zephyr squads are bigger. Brought a Missionary and brought some Death Cult Assassins too. The amount of things you can bring for Celestine, I think, are better than Celestine herself. I feel like when the bodyguard change happened, Celestine's value dropped dramatically.
See, I still rate her very highly.
She's still good. I just don't think she's better than other things you can bring now. When you have Morven Vol and the cannon, like the Slaughter Canoness, Missionary is just like, that adds value too for a lot less.
Adam, you threw out a comment there also when you're reading out the list, is they somehow don't give up Assassinate. We talk about often how sometimes Assassinate can be a trap or a trick or whatever. You look at it and you start rubbing your hands. I will say that is 100% the case with the Adeptus Sororitas. I don't think it's ever the best call to take Assassinate, unless you're a mismatch in your armies or whatever, because they can play without every character being in range of you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And
Yep.
look, apart from Morven Vile, who can go in tango, yeah, cool. You killed Vile with Assassinate. Congratulations on your 4 points. If you don't get any others, still a horrible secondary.
Yeah.
And
Killing Mortal Val
essentially,
is no easy feat either.
exactly right. You're going to break yourself trying to get her a lot of the time. And then if this guy doesn't, if Colin doesn't have to play with the, I don't know, 175, 200 points of his army that are the other 5 characters because they're all cheap as chips, he's probably fine with that. He's probably like, oh yeah, cool. They just get into the Rhino after the Retributors get out. It's 5 characters in a Rhino back at the board. Good luck.
Well, yeah, it gives them control over if this game is within 15 points, he has control of those 15
Yes,
points.
absolutely. Yeah, this is what we usually see. So, a big event like this in Texas, where there's a lot of contenders for not only number 1 in Texas, but getting really high up there in the overall rankings, you'll see people start to test out their last things or start to go back to what they believe is the best option for said faction. I'm quite confident in saying this is pretty much close to the perfect sisters list for the meta at the moment. It's a bit of a shame that it hasn't really changed much over the past kind of like 8 months. It's pretty much been the same thing, just moving the beans along. The
you say a
counter.
shame, but the people that have built
not.
this list, they're loving it. They're getting a lot of life out of their army list.
And
They're
also
getting
the
miles.
thing that you can say is everyone else who's trying to. So sisters are sitting in a very stable place. Their list is not only solved and everyone has reps into it, but it's stable for the player base. They know how to play it. You've got 120, 200, 1,000 reps on it if you've been playing it all this season. Whereas everyone else is trying to innovate, trying to find the cutting edge. You're just sitting here like, my stuff's good. My stuff's always going to be good. Don't need to stress. Don't need to fuss. Off to the races. It's a really nice place
if some other general out there takes their shot and misses, they're just going to get totally steamrolled.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, next up we had Kit Smith-Hanna, as I mentioned, ranked 2nd in the US Southwest. He's playing Tyranids, High Fleet Kraken. And Dustin, if you want to break this one down, you're more than happy to.
Oh, this isn't the Creations of Bile one that you're mentioning.
Apologies. Sorry, that is the next one. That's Johnny
That's the
Velasquez.
next one. Okay. So we'll go over this High Fleet Kraken list. We got a battalion with Neurothrope, Tervagon, Flyrit, 10 Gargoyles, 30 Termagons, 3 Warriors, 3 Tyrant Guard, Death Leaper, 3 Venom Thropes, 2x3 Zone Thropes, 5 Raveners, and 3 Biovores, and then a Fortification Detachment with the Spore Assist in there to add some more dirty spores and move blocking in there. This is, you were saying the Sisters list is pretty close to the perfect Sisters list. This is pretty close to a perfect Kraken list.
It's missing 1 unit Raveners for my mind. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
that's literally what I was about to say.
That's literally all I changed. And this may be that Kit is testing. He's like added the Tervagon package and is skewing the other unit of Ravenous to add in the Tervagon just to see how that does in this meta. And it's not like he's not aware that another unit of Ravenous is good, right?
It's
You
true.
think that's the trade off the Tervagon? What does the Tervagon bring to it? I mean, is it trying to like bring back something? What are they?
It brings back some of the levy stability. Sorry, you go, Dustin. You know better.
No. You go ahead. You had it.
Yeah, some of the levy stability, like some durability, some board soaking, some pressure. It's not something like essentially a Tervagon is not going to hurt you. It's not sorry, a Tervagon and the package, unless he's got more claws, which he probably does. But it's a huge base, easy to avoid. But the 30 guys it toes around, you put Catalyst on them for 1 turn of the game. They got an invulnerable save as well. They're -1 to hit. They're actually really annoying to try and kill and get rid of. I've unloaded whole portions of my Dark Angels army, Hurricane Bolters, Talon Masters, and killed unders every time. Always less than I think I'm going to kill. And then they come back because of the Tervagon.
They respawn. The Tervagon does respawn them.
Yeah, the Tervagon is nigh on unkillable unless you manage to get multi-melters in multi-melter range, a bunch of las cannons or equivalents, all getting a beat at the same turn. If you're pinch hitting the Tervagon, unless you're guaranteed to do like 5 or 6 mortals to it a turn, that's a really good trade-off. If you can just do a couple of turns of that, then try and nuke it. But trying to 1-turn the Tervagon is actually kind of harder than 1-turning a big knight, a Crestaurus knight at times. Because it has the Venom Thrope, it can have Catalyst, it can have all these things. So it's actually just a really not expensive package that adds some of that backbone back to the Kraken list that you lost when Leviathan kind of took a backseat.
Yeah, for sure. So the Tervagon does do that. It does spawn 1 unit for free just because it does. That's just why not? It's just free points. The only thing, because
it's a 10 gaunt unit though. It's not like a full
10 gaunt unit. It's not a full one. Yeah. But yeah, the Death Leaper is the only thing that I think would be where the extra Ravener squad would go. And Death Leaper is still a tech piece. It's a very good tech piece. He went up in points quite a bit in the last data slate. So a lot of people started leaning further towards the Parasite instead.
Death Leaper is still the one that goes out and turns off stratagems. Your opponent cannot use command points.
Yeah.
If they're within certain range. And that's anything, not just a certain thing or whatever. They can't.
Anything.
Yeah.
It is a nasty unit. So I always loved Death Leaper. I preferred him above the Parasite personally.
Yes, I feel like this is just a tester for Kit. He's just going to check out whether this tech conglomeration is better than the previous iteration.
Test the Turvagon package.
Test the Turvagon. I'm a big fan of the Turvagon. I think it's extremely good. One question I did, without having tuned into Raveners, what does this list, and this is saying to you, Dustin, what does this list gain from being Kraken over saying being Leviathan, being Jormungandr, being Behemoth?
Board control, speed.
Yep.
Number one, no one knows what Jormungandr does.
Jormungandr's got some play. It has some play.
No, I think we talked about him last week, didn't we? Like they've got like
it was Behemoth.
Okay, maybe
Behemoth,
it was.
Yeah.
They've got like every one of these factions has a string of a cool warlord trait, as a relic ability, and a stratagem and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean that's one of the cool things. Use the same models, test out what works right in the meta.
Exactly right. Next up, we have Joni Velasquez, ranked 3rd in the US Southwest. Heretics, Deities, Creations of Bile. This is the list I mentioned before incorrectly. Apologies. He's got a battalion, Demon Prince with Wings, actual Fabius Bile. He actually took Fabi B. Master Possession, 3x10 Cultists, 3x5 Terminators, a unit of 7 Chosen, a Master of Executions, 10 Possessed, 5 Raptors, 2 Venom Crawlers, and 5 Havocs. This seems to have a lot more stuff, doesn't it?
Is that why Fabius isn't? Because look, Fabius is not really thought of as being very efficient.
Yeah,
but he's Fabio.
No, I love it. The model's amazing. Character is creepy and absolutely cool.
He could be the tech consideration for this one. He could be like, I just want to try out Fabius, see if it makes sense.
Yeah, it could be testing. Well, these are testing grounds before LVO. Like this is where people are going to do it. These bigger events that doesn't matter too much for their points if they've already gotten where they need to go, and they want to test out the last little tech piece or last package that they haven't tried before. And maybe Fabius is the one in this one. And the Havocs. I haven't seen Havocs that often either.
Yeah, the enhancements that Fabi can do, like just. Can you? I'm just reading the rules now. I'm just trying to figure out if you can do it on the same one more than once. Because I didn't believe it could. I think it's once per unit.
Don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's once per unit. Yeah, so rolls 1d3 or 2d3 if he's got his surgeon still alive. On a 1 on the d3 it's +1 strength. On a 2 it's +1 toughness. On a 3 it's +1 attack. Essentially, from my mind, you're happy with all of those, but you want number 2. Number 2 is the bee's knees, especially on that possessed unit. Getting them to is that T6 on the possessed? But they're not core, so you can't do it. So it's literally just slapping it on termies, possibly trying to get +1 toughness on the Havocs as well, which I quite like. But yeah, I like it. I don't mind Fabi. I think he's.
How are those Havocs armed?
If I remember correctly, I believe they are autocannon Havocs.
Autocannon.
I could be. They're not. I remember they're not chain cannon, not las cannon. I believe they're autocannon, which I think is the default choice, the cheapest choice.
Well, you got it down to 50-50.
I do. Yeah, I have it down to 50.
You're close. You have a chance to be right.
That's right. But yeah, I quite like this list. It's got a lot of 3 units of Terminator, a big unit of Chosen, big unit of Possessed. It's a lot of trading pieces. The bit that doesn't make sense to me that much is why 2 Venom Crawlers. I think 1 would be enough to keep the Master Possession buffed up, doing its goodness. So the second one, is that just redundancy, or do you like a little bit of more durability?
It fights a little bit. It can help support a flank. I mean, it's not. And I also think about sometimes about what I'm trying to presenting to my opponent to make decisions about, and the same thing that goes into a Venom Crawler is kind of the similar weapon that you'll fire into a Terminator squad, and maybe somebody makes a bad choice.
Yeah, could be as simple as that. But yeah, quite like this list by Joni. The only thing, we're all scratching our heads on Fabius being there, whether he's going to make the cut.
Fabius is going to be great for those Chosen.
Yes, he actually really, really will be for the Chosen. That's true. All right, jumping down to the second last, we have Nathaniel Borge. He's 4th in the US Southwest, like I said. He's also playing Kraken, but this list is extremely different. Take it away, Dustin.
All right, so we got a single battalion by the looks of it, and it's 2 Neranthropes, a Tyranid Prime, 14 Hormagaunts, 9/9/3 Warriors, 3x3 Zoanthropes. Oh, I love that. 3 Venomthropes and 9 Ravagers. I like this a lot.
This is pretty close to the German WTC list, NID list, but with a Kraken spin on it.
I like this a lot, actually. I like adding more min squads of Zoanthropes. I do. I feel like their mortal wound output is so good right now. and they're still they're a pain to get rid of, and you have to kill all of them, or they're still going to do a lot of
I
damage.
said, do they all support each other? Like all 3 units support the units around them?
You mean
As far as
for
buffing up the
synapse?
psychic power buff up, is that
It doesn't buff. Well, they don't buff each other up. It's just themselves. So they get 1 extra mortal wound and 1 extra to cast for every zone throw in the unit, up to 3.
in the
basically.
unit? Because I was curious,
In the
I couldn't
unit,
remember if it crossed
Yeah.
into other units. Like, are
No,
they
no,
rolling
no.
a +9 over here on one of these
No,
units?
no. God. No, just up to 3. It's max of 3 anyway. So, but it means that you have to kill the whole squad to really take away any of their damage output, and they're a pain to get rid of. They're T5 with a 4-up invuln. It's almost like you don't want to, because they're not obsec. They're not going to be fighting you in close combat. They're outputting mortal wounds, and if you're an elite army, mortal wounds should scare you.
And I love one big unit, and he's going for 2 big units of warriors in Kraken, just because you can make them pseudo Raveners, but with 2 damage weapons. So one of the biggest issues with
And
Raveners, it's exactly right. There's no obsec, and they've got essentially super high rend, but single damage usually is the weapons you take. Whereas the warriors bring a different profile and a little bit, a fair bit less speed, but they bring you that other profile dump. I would have gone, personally, if it was me, it'd be switched. It would be 2 max units of Raveners, 1 max unit of warriors. But I can see why it's kind of a muchness. The Tyranid Prime. Why? Dustin, tell me why. I've never seen this guy before in a top list.
Really?
Not since the early days.
The early days. He was definitely around the early days.
I haven't seen him in 6 months in a list.
The Tyranid Prime.
He's like groundhogs.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. The Tyranid Prime is there. He gets +1 to hit to warriors, and it is the synaptic one. It's exploding. I think it's the exploding in combat for him. Yep. Exploding hits in combat. Yeah, exploding 6s in combat, which. When you're
sounds good, right?
when you're doing as many attacks as these squads are going to be doing, that's good. That's really
good. I'll say this again. I'll say this for the first time, then I'll say it again. No Flyrant, boys. No Flyrant. Wow. What a confidence choice, Nathaniel, to not take what is considered to be the best single thing. One of the best characters in the game, and one of the best, possibly the best unit in that book. And he's just like, who needs it?
Do you give up the relic, the scythe or whatever?
You can still take it. The Tyranid Prime can take the Reaper of Obliterax.
Technically, he can, yeah.
It's not that good for him. Like, he's not amazing with it. It's still pretty good. I mean, it takes a flyer and makes it it makes it a Primarch level killing monster, like a Magnus
Well, I mean, to
level.
be fair, in terms of what the damage output of the Reaper actually does, the Prime would do that the same now that it's maxed. Since it actually has a cap now, the Prime will still get a decent value out of it if he wants to use it. So, I mean,
there's no way to bounce around. There's no way to overrun. There's no way to run out, get a kill, and run back. There's no combo to it. It would just simply be like, a Space Marine captain with a power fist walking around behind the lines.
Yeah, he's there mostly for the buffs, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like this a lot. Get everybody stuck on the multi-wound mid-level nids and then smite them off the board. I like it a lot.
We got one more list to go.
We do. All 5. Last is Samuel Cook, 5th in the US West, Tau Empire, Tau Sept. Oops, all crisis suits. It is Battalion, Crisis Commander, Ethereal, and Long Stroke. 3x10 Crute, 3x5 crisis suits. And
we just read what's on the teleprompter. That's
well, I typed it. I know what I
did. You know what you did.
Just some Easter eggs in there for the mature people at home. But yeah, this is just oops all crisis suits. This feels like a Ogden list, right? This feels like Ogden Tau. Which is just like, oh, these things are still good. Everyone thinks they're bad. But what if I took 15?
Is this just the list from 3 months ago? I mean, which is not bad, by the way.
So, this list 3 months ago used to still have all the Crute Hounds and would have another Hammerhead, because that's how many points have probably changed in it. But it doesn't. I mean, cool. You got tabled on turn 1 from the last one. Maybe you get tabled on turn 2 instead. Yay! Way worse.
The reason I mention that is because this stuff is somewhat cyclical, and we do have a living, breathing, pulsing ecosystem with stuff. This did fall out of fashion for a little bit. And seemingly we have a new archetype coming up with the Riptides and that kind of stuff. Has that now opened the door to have this creep back itself back in?
So Yeah, I do kind of believe so. Like the Riptide thing, if this is just teched for the Houston terrain, sure, this is fine. I think that Riptides on LVO terrain are going to be good. I don't
Yeah.
like the 3. I don't like the 3. I love 1, maybe 2 in the right list. But on player plays terrain where you can just be like, in the middle, like of my deployment zone, Riptide behind. Good luck getting it to it. It's going to shoot every turn. Feels extremely powerful. And not only does this not have Riptide, it doesn't have the Sunshark bombers. And I can't sit here and tell you he made the wrong choice because 15 crisis suits is freaking ferocious, absolutely terrifying.
And what we've seen is they kind of play zone control. Like they'll jump around and go, "I'm going to melt everything over here." Oh, you have no figures left over there. Okay, cool. I'm going to jump over here and melt this zone, and then
Yeah.
4 turns go by, then that's all the zones, and you got no models left.
Yeah,
And
the
Shadow
crisis suits
Sun-
are actually really good for the mobility on that in terms of the terrain as well. Because the only problem, like, as I actually I'm a big fan of the Riptides right now. Obviously the bombers too, but the crisis suits they take away all that mobility. They have it. They don't need to worry about it. It's long stroke that'll have it'll get hard for him. So
You've converted him. He's now a long stroke believer.
Thank you. That was great. But yeah, what I find really frustrating about crisis suits is when you have multiple of them, the ability to rotate them out. Nobody in shooting kills a whole crisis unit in one go, unless you're a Night Crusader. Flamers don't do it, like, because you got a couple of guys now that are 2+ with the 4+ feel no pain and some drones.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, you put one out, decimate a couple of squads. Oh, they killed all the drones and maybe one guy out of the squad. Pop that one back. Fresh squad goes up, does the same thing. Last turn, they all come out. Like, that stuff gets really frustrating for people. Surprisingly, I think this list will do really well in this meta as well, because there's a lot of MSU. I wanted to say this, after unpacking all these lists, just the sheer amount of squads in each army, with the exception of Nathaniel's list, which is just gone for sheer chonk, but there's still like a hell of a lot of wounds in it. Most of them have gone for MSU. So there seems to be 2, like ranked 4th and ranked 5th. That's when they start going for the power units. They're like the medium-sized power units, and then 1, 2, 3, it's just MSU, as much as you can take. Pretty funny, really, to see that.
I like that. Look, this is the point in the show where we also pick a winner. We can pick a faction, we can pick a player. That's sometimes a finger in the air, sometimes it's we just feel it.
I can feel I feel good about the Kraken right now. Both of those lists they're solid.
But they're both so different. I love it. It's
really, and they are both
exciting.
So different too. So Tyranids are in a really good spot in this one, I think.
I'm going to go for Joni Velasquez, specifically going for Joni's Creations of Bile, because Bile's in the list and I want to see it shine.
All right, I'm going to go with an underdog faction right now. I'm going to go with the Leagues of Votan.
Yeah, not bad.
I wouldn't consider them an underdog faction. I don't know.
They haven't pulled a win down yet, really.
Is that a short joke? Is that a short joke?
No. But what I actually think there's been we talk about the hobby lag sometimes on some other shows about how it kind of takes a little bit to catch up. And I think that now the figures have been out for a good enough period of time. People have been able to maybe play with all of the whole range of models. They've got to figure out what the list is. They have stuff in there, like stuff in the Leagues of Votan that like gets around phase cap wounds and stuff. I mean, they've got a little bit of everything. And the FAQ didn't really hurt them, past what the original balance was, so people are, again, should be fairly confident with what they could bring. And I think that's going to give them a win this weekend.
I could see that. I think I've seen one Hearthkin warrior die to its own B weapon since that fact came out. That's pretty much all I've seen.
I mean, conceptually, I want to make someone kill their own stuff.
Of course.
It will probably be the wrong tactical choice on the day. Like, you can shoot my, black
Take
knight.
out that warrior.
You can shoot my 10 black knights if you're willing to shoot through exactly one of your warriors. And like, I've got a medipack. I res that guy. Let's do it. Bang.
You don't use black knights.
I've used them twice.
Oh, okay.
For this situation, debate out this specifically
debate out
just for this. Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna take a quick break here with a word from our sponsors, Frontline Gaming. Check them out. See this ad, and then we're gonna come back to us. We got one more tournament to talk about, and then right after that, we got our palate cleanser, world-renowned palate cleanser. We call it Plague of Rapido. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
At Frontline Gaming, we make the best tabletop gaming mats in the universe. Our mats are durable, rollable, foldable, wipeable, and storable. Oh, and they look damn great too. Join the thousands of tournament regulars and garage gamers who use our mats to bring their gaming surfaces to life. To ensure quality, Frontline gaming mats are custom made one at a time, printed with high quality ink. Our immersive designs stay crisp and are available in a wide range of styles and sizes. So whether you're playing a war game or a skirmish game, whether you're fighting over an alien tundra, fantastical forest, or real-world setting, there's a great-looking battlefield for you. Our gaming mats are printed on extremely durable neoprene backing, so they won't slide around the table, and they're thick enough to stay flat, protecting what's underneath and allowing for slight uneven surfaces. We know from experience that an easily portable gaming surface is just better. Every mat comes with a sturdy nylon zip-up bag for storage and transportation. Whether your next battle is in your home or at the local game store, you'll be able to unroll your FLG mat and get gaming right away. Our products are all made and tested by passionate gamers at Frontline Gaming HQ right here in the USA. It's time to take your battlefield to a new level. Frontline Gaming, champions of tabletop.
To you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X-Go deliver to you. Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real. With the non-stop pop out and stainless steel. Though hard getting busy with it. I got such a good heart.
we got nothing.
Everybody, we are back. Yeah, look at that. Hey, right on time like professionals. You know.
We knew it. We knew the timing.
Before we get going with this next segment, I do want to give a shout out, like an honorable mention to the events. I know it's kind of things coming up. Kind of Fast and Furious, the Risky Rollers annual charity event in Melbourne, Australia. Adam, I believe that's right in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, it is London adjacent still, technically.
Yeah,
I knew it.
you can get there from London eventually.
I knew it.
But yeah, lovely guys. Got a YouTube channel if you want to check out any of their stream games. I was on there playing the New Guard 2 weeks ago. But yeah, they've got a multi-system little event going on with all proceeds going to the Smith family charity, which helps struggling kids worldwide. So they got Blood Bowl going on. They got super competitive ITC ranked kill team. They got 40k. They got Horus Heresy. Yeah, should be an awesome event.
So this charity event, like you mentioned, all profits go to the Smith family, which helps support struggling children worldwide. So, check it out. It's definitely worth looking at if that's something you're into or just want to see what's going on in another region. Check it out. Coming up this weekend. So the next event we're going to be talking about is the France Tournament Circuit Inauguration.
The FTCI, as it shall be known.
There we go. From, I think, Montesul? Is that
Monsol? I don't know. It is directly north
Europe.
of Paris. It's in Europe.
Like north of Paris?
Yeah, directly straight up from Paris. Yeah.
That's in Europe.
That is in Europe.
It's got to be cool. Well,
That's
look, geography, we're obviously masters at that.
Obviously.
But 78 players, 5 rounds event. Dustin, what are we going to see there?
For the Imperial faction, we're going to see 4 Sisters of Battle, 1 Custode, 1 Grey Knight, 7 Imperial Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Space Marines are going to be 2 Astartes, 1 Dark Angel, 3 Space Wolves, 1 Blood Angel, 1 Ultramarine, 1 Salamander, 1 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 6 Chaos Space Marines, which is 4 Creations of Bile, 1 Black Legion, and 1 Emperor's Children. 10,000 Suns, 7 with Flamers. There we go. So we got the breakdown there. There's 7.
I did it for you. I promised. I provided.
You did it. You did it during the last one, didn't you? We were doing it during the show.
No.
1 Death Guard, 3 Demons, and 2 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 4 Necrons, 1 Orc, 3 Tau, and 6 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 6 Tyranids. Where are the GSC this weekend? Come on, guys.
Lying in wait.
Lying in wait for
They're all going to creep out in Vegas.
Eldar, there's 2 Drukhari, 4 Harlequins, 1 Assyriani, and 1 Inari. Meaning the faction podium is T-Suns, topping it off at 10. This is Europe, actually. I shouldn't be as surprised about it. Imperial Knights in second with 7, and then Tyranids, Votan, and CSM in third with 6. That's a scary spread, actually.
That's a terrifying spread.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I do not mind seeing
That's 150 Flamers.
That's so many
It's
flamers.
a lot. It's a lot. It's min 15 per those. There's 7 of them, and then the demon players in on top.
That one orc
yeah.
player is probably bringing Border Boys too, just because.
Just because, it's the age of the flamer. The only people who aren't taking the flamers are the CSM players who have like an extra 2 shots or whatever it is from their wanton flame grilled whopper. I don't know.
It's their chicken fried steaks. That's
chicken fried steaks. That's right. +2 to hit. But yeah, this is a pretty beautiful spread. A couple of notable things. The Astartes was a Lamenters that didn't actually submit a list. It was just listed as Lamenters and then said he on their thing. So I chucked them in the Astartes column. And the other one is the third list we'll be looking at, which is actually the Castellans of the
Blood
Rift.
Angels. That's 30 sanguinary guards you're casually overlooking.
That's all the ones that are still alive, casually. Although the Lamenters have far less, right? Them and the Flesh Terrors are seeing who competing to see who bottoms out first on personnel. But yeah, 10 T-Suns is a hell of a grindy environment to exist in.
No kidding. That's a nightmare. That's the not my worst matchup, but it's definitely the hardest brain matter matchup. Like it's a pain.
It's interesting to see Necrons. So Necrons had one significant change, and we said this last week as well, that the Silent King just doesn't buff himself out the wazoo anymore. Still does everything else. It's still phenomenally good, and yet we've seen the Necron player pool cut by 2/3.
Let's see. What does the chat think about that? I mean, let us know what we're missing on that, because really, in a lot of games, the Silent King sometimes just set in the back.
If I was sitting twiddling my thumbs, not set on a faction to play for LVO, I'd unga bunga Necrons and just be like, hey, if I just get the right pairings, I make the top 8 because no one gets to stop me scoring 100 points. That is a thing that they can still do. I think one of the biggest reasons they are starting to get held down a little bit, and we mentioned earlier in the show, CSM is actually a very good matchup into Necrons.
You may have also hit the nail on the head too. Is that a lot of events are not about necessarily the number of battle points that you win. Some of the path to victories are, actual win-loss type situations, and you scoring 100 functionally doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Other than the win, of course, but.
At the LVO, if the only way to dodge the shadow round is to get 6, probably 97 plus wins, is the only way to guarantee you don't play that shadow round.
Necron's looking real appealing then.
Exactly right. For that purpose, Necrons in the hands of a top player is one of the only guaranteed ways to get even to get 90-point losses and stuff as well. And so for even that point of view, if you just go in there thinking you're going to get a 5-1, 4-2, but you want to score in the top of that bracket they're in, Necrons are still a great choice for that too. But anyway, let's jump in some of the top players in attendance. We have one gentleman in attendance who represented France at the WTC this year, who had an extremely strong showing. This is Frank Fetis. Like I said, represented Team France. He's playing Leagues of Votan, Greater Thurian League.
Because there's a C and a K there. Is it?
How would you pronounce that then?
Frank.
It's Frank. Sorry, mate.
Frank. It's French. You're killing Dicky. Dicky's choking in the background.
We won't be able to have the Fuego if you kill production.
All right, Greater Thurian League, which is, I think, the first time we put Greater Thurian League on the channel. So happy to see it. He's got a battalion. He's got Ulthar the Destined, because why else are you taking Greater Thurian? He's got a Karl and a broken Ironmaster. 3x10 Hearthkin Warriors, 5 Zerkers, 2x3 Pioneers, and 3 Hecaton Land Fortresses with the Magners. Because, of course, you're taking Uthar, so you've got to go at least one of them with the Magners. But I was surprised to see all 3. In fact, I was surprised to see 3 Hecaton Land Fortresses in this list. People consider the Greater Thurian League to be the one where you take one Land Fortress and then spam out the rest of your army. So I was interested to see the trip in this configuration. What do you guys make of it?
The Greater Thurian League actually, I think, has some good play in it because of the named character. Because he has that auto 6, right, for a land fortress.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. Well, for anything.
It's going to be for the land fortress.
Yeah, and that is Uthar the Destined. That's the guy that does that to.
He is the Greater Thurian named character, so you can only take him.
And then he's got a backup call here.
Yep. Why not?
Yeah. the backup call is an interesting one for me. It makes me feel like he's going to have two spheres of influence. He's going to have Uthar with the Hecatons sitting at the back, or minimum Uthar with one Hecaton sitting at the back, just getting angles, and then the other two might push with the troops and the other Carl. Or at least that's how I'm reading it.
And then the Grimnir is the one that gets. I was talking about that axe that chops through people's wound caps and stuff. And the call doesn't have it.
It's is it the Iron Hair champion? Yeah, Iron Hair champion.
The champion
is the Psycho.
Yeah, you're right. The other the beefy guy in the armor or whatever has that axe, and that's not present here.
It's surprising it's not present. It's also surprising. If you're going 3 Hecatons, sure, go for this. But I actually quietly prefer a patrol for the Votan list I've considered for what I want to test into for events. I'm looking more at a patrol, 2 Hecatons, 2 max units of Pioneers, 2 max units of Zerkers, like that kind of way, or 1 max unit of Zerkers and a unit of Sagittars. And yeah, to see the full spread, it's pretty interesting. Of course, there's a lot of this stuff. This is going to be a very small drop army, very concise, because all the Hearthkins can go in the Hecatons, so it's going to be a very small footprint, even though it has some really big models. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty savage shooting list. The question is, how does this do into T-Suns? Is this any good into T-Suns? Because there's freaking 10 of them. He's gonna have to play them.
That's a tough call, because it basically you kind of getting picked off psychic wise.
Is it good against them? I know that Votan T-Suns is probably one of their biggest fears.
Yeah,
because mortal wounds terrify them.
Well, and think of the secondaries too. I mean, I look at it also as like, what can the Thousand Suns players take to have some real safe, like 30, 45 points?
Quite cleverly, he's not taking a Grimnir.
Yeah,
he's like, he looked at his meta. He's like, no.
Yeah, nope.
And giving them an auto 15, and the Grimnir does literally nothing for me. He just gets denied every turn by some jerk rubric guy over there.
So they can't take the Wrath of Magnus
exactly.
to get the yep.
And they can take Abhor the Witch, which against the 10 T-Suns players, you're going to have to. So yeah, I think this is well teched for the environment.
Okay.
I still don't know if it's enough to bridge the gap, just because you don't have enough to put in the way of yourself and the mortal wounds to keep the land fortresses alive. You can heal them pretty well, though. The Brokia is going to heal them pretty reliably.
You got the pizza wagons. I mean, what are they going to do? They got to get close. They get close. You jump out. You hit them with the Berserkers. You fire all the stuff with the Hearthkin Warriors.
Fire all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it can. The Iron Master actually is no slouch.
Anyway, moving on. Next up, we have... Oh, geez, I've lost the name. I've accidentally flipped his name off.
I threw you off. Yeah, no, Jean-Baptiste Bernard?
No, there's another one above there, the Ynnari player.
Oh, you cut the whole thing out, yeah.
I've got his list, but I've had some formatting issues. Anyway, some guy, he's playing Ynnari.
Some guy, poor guy.
He's got
poor Frank, and now this guy.
Well, I'm dodging the ability to self-deprecate myself with pronunciation once again. I word good, no read good.
Is it
how it turns out.
Tybalt?
Sure.
Tybalt, Dunamel, that's
Yes, it is.
That sounded perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, so what has happened here is I read the show off my notes, and then I transpose them onto the PowerPoint. And so, yes, thank you, it was there. Anyway, he has a battalion of Ynnari. He's got a Farseer, Shadowseer, 3x5 Rangers, 3x10 Troop, a Warlock Skyrunner, 5 Striking Scorpions, 3 Shroud Runners, 3 Reavers, 3 Wind Riders, which was extremely hard to figure out which one was which on the translation front. He's got a patrol then with a Yinkan, another Shadowseer, a unit of 8 Troop, 3 Reavers, and 3 Wind Riders, being 5 units of bikes for the Ultra MSU speed, 4 units of Troop, 3 into Rangers to make the best of the secondaries. Still got the Yinkan, still got some Scorpions for some counter assault. I like this list.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. It's very interesting. The min squads of Reavers, I've never seen like Drukhari and stuff use them. So is it something in Ynnari that's like, actually they're actually good in this one? Like, I don't know.
I looked at them and I was trying to figure out, are they Reavers? For the longest time, I'm like, they're Shining Spears, right? They're Shining Spears because he's got the Wind Riders, he's got the Shroud Runners, they're the Shining Spears. And so it took me 4 translations. I finally got the translation for Hypex, the combat drug. That's the only reason that I think or know
he wants to
these
charge
are
flying
Ravens.
thing. He wants to charge other Sunshark bombers or whatever. I mean, he doesn't have a bomber in his. The Ynnari that I've seen with this configuration typically have like one of the Drukhari bombers in there because they want to jump out, do all this mortal wounds and everything and stuff. And I think he's playing a little bit counter to that. I think he wants to be able to put some pressure on these planes and keep people, somewhat honest with where they position them against him.
He wants to do something with them in terms of war control because Hypex is the movement drug, isn't it? It's the +2 move.
Trying to catch a flyer. I'm telling you.
He wants to catch those flyers.
This is flyer management.
Yeah. This is such a fast list. It's so quick.
It is definitely fast.
It's actually got a quite good amount of mortal wounds as well. The Farseer, 2 Shadowseers, and the Yinkan actually packing decent mortal wounds. I like this list. I don't know if it's the best Ynnari list. It might have one too many units of troop for my liking. I think 4 might be one too many, but I still think it's really strong. I think
he wants all those troops. That's his punch. Like all the other things are getting like, the war control where he needs to go, chasing down flyers if they need to. The striking scorpions can do a little bit too because like they actually can pack a wallop too, and they're infiltrating.
That's exactly what I would do. I'd be taking 1 unit of troop out, and I'd be diversifying for Banshees, diversifying for, whatever else. I just have more MSU melee. That wasn't just more troop because you get to a critical mass of troop where they need such support from stratagems to psychic powers that you might not have them all operating on all cylinders at all times, and you can get a bit stretched. Is the fear. So by having 1 less, maybe having some Banshees that don't really need any buffs, nothing to Scorpions don't really need any buffs, that would be the idea in my head. Or in my mind, what I would like to see out of this list would be 1 unit of Swooping Hawks. I'd love to see that in this list.
So with this is a real story. A buddy of mine who I've known for years and years and years. Haven't talked to like closely in a bit, but he reached out kind of out of the blue and it's like, "Yo, I'm getting into Warhammer 40K." I'm like, "Oh, you came to the right place." And he's like, and I want to play, Eldari, but I'm also looking at like what there are other options for this. Like, it's all good, man. Just get whatever units you want, whatever what looks good to you. We'll figure it out. The Eldari and Ynnari and Drukhari, they're in a very good place right now. So any would-be generals out there, you can kind of make do with anything you think is cool.
Well, some people are pointing out that as listed right now, the patrol for this army isn't legal. So 100%, just assume I got the translations wrong.
Yeah, he was translating it, so that might not even be troops.
Dead set, assume I got it wrong.
They could be Storm Guardians for all we know.
Exactly right. All right, last one. Jean-Baptiste Bernard is the last one. Playing Adeptus Astartes, Castellans of the freaking Rift. When I saw this list, I had to.
That's out of the White Dwarf, right?
That is out of the White Dwarf. I actually really, if this came out in the Nockman mission packet, Nockman GT packet, this would be one of the better ways to play Marines. But this army needs so many CP, they're usually really starved. So let's jump in. It's got a battalion, Primaris Captain, Primaris Librarian, 5 Assault Intercessors, 2x5 Incursors, a single Primaris Apothecary, 3 units of 5 Blade Guard, 2x5 Plasma Inceptors, an Impulsor, and a single Calexis Assassin.
T-Sons.
Well, legit, I looked at it, I'm like, clever sausage, brought the Calexis. I mean, a little unfortunate he brought the Libby, but it's okay. Like, as long as you can keep the Calexis away from the Libby and let the Calexis do its work, I actually quite like it. Do you guys know some of the saucy things the Castellans of the Rift can do?
Oh, no, hit us. Like, this is not something we've seen a lot, or I've not seen a lot.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
So they have a stratagem for a redeploy. Essentially, it's they're an Ultramarine successor. So they have a stratagem with Ultramarines for a redeploy, and then they have a stratagem similar to the Bloody Rose one, where a transport full of guys can push turn 1. Then they have a stratagem for OBSEC or double OBSEC if you're already OBSEC, and then they have a stratagem for if you were on an objective, you get a 5-up Feel No Pain. So turn 1, this guy can have 5 Blade Guard and an Apothecary if they want, or the Captain, just go straight for the jugular turn 1, disembark if they want onto an objective with OBSEC Blade Guard with a 5-up Feel No Pain on your home objective.
I like that a lot. I mean, just Blade Guard are so tough.
Deal with it. The issue is everything I just reeled off is a multiple CP stratagem. It's a 6 CP play, I believe, to do all those things. But a lot of the time you don't need the OBSEC. because the OPSEC is a wait and see. If they take it back off me, I've got 1 or 2 guys left, and then an OPSEC in my next command phase, turn them OPSEC. So I think you spend 3 or 4 CP for the privilege of doing that turn 1 play, but it's the threat of it. And then you have all the Ultramarine stratagems in your back pocket as well. So this is a quietly little sassy list, but my issue is it needs so many CP to operate at top profile.
Are you suggesting that because you check for control at the end of your command phase, and so you get an opportunity to see if you need to burn that or whatever?
Right. Exactly right. Your next command phase, if the Blade Guard is still alive and you can flip the objective for 2 CP, you do. You just flip it. It's a very high intensity list. I know we tested it for a bunch of strong team events as being, is this the best Space Marines list that no one knows about just yet? Because it operates in tandem with the Bloody Rose list, so you can use it to pin people in with stuff like that. Because it's pseudo, Death Company turn 1, but it doesn't look like it on paper. You have to dig deeper to try and find out what it's going to do. The 2x5 Inceptors, I actually don't hate Inceptors in the meta at the moment, but 2x5 is a lot of points in that package. If they got good screens, you don't have a lot of bolt guns in this army to clear screens. So yeah, I do love this list though. I actually really want to play Castellans of the Rift because I think they're really exciting. The only issue is there's such a burden of knowledge to play this. You need the Space Marines Codex, you need the Ultramarines, supplement, you need the Castellans of the Rift White Dwarf, and then you need all the associated FAQs and erratas to put this thing together. It's a very high intensity, high knowledge based army, but I think it's really cool.
All right, so what do we think's winning this thing?
Oh, T-Sons.
See, I'm going counter to that. I'm saying Imperial Knights.
Yes, do it.
All right. Look, this event is like 30% chaos.
Yep.
Which is tough. So look, I'm going Tyranids.
That's
nice. Yeah. I mean, Tyranids can do some nasty things to T-Sons, as in Shadow to the Warpum, shut down some of their better spells. Mind you, your spells are kind of really hard to get off as well. But yeah. Actually, Dustin, how was that matchup for like the crack like a good crack in this list versus the Flamer T-Sons pile?
Good Kraken list can crack it because they have good mortal wounds and their AP is good. And their AP is actually pretty good. Plus their mortal wound, they have a lot of bonuses, and so T-Sons aren't as good at denying. They can still deny, obviously, but with all the bonuses to cast the Tyranids have, they can actually win the mortal wound game a lot of the time. I find. But I feel like it's a good matchup for the Tyranids, depending on like the actual army build itself. If they build it, if it's like heavy into the Termagants and some of like the Zoanthropes, though, the T-Sons bolters get a lot of value into them.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
Oh, that's a good call. I was just actually thinking that the Tervagon getting that free 10 gaunts, actually maybe eats an Overwatch without losing a resource you paid points for.
That's true.
But no, that was a great point of like, yeah, bolters, they normally don't do anything. They get kind of a field day,
Yeah, kind of a field day against them.
Yeah, because they bounce off the toughness 5 and mid bugs because they're winning on 5s, or they need a lot of buffs and CP to power them up. But yeah, Termagants, they just shred.
I'm staying with my pick though. Look,
nice.
It must be. I'm curious to how the terrain is in that area because with that many players and granted we did talk about a Space Marine list as may have been an anomaly of how it was actually built in the faction itself. But let's look, like there's only one Blood Angel player. Blood Angel are one of the strongest armies right now, and only one of them there. And looking around, I don't see a bunch of assault based armies potentially in the stack.
Yeah, how do you feel like T-Sons negotiate that same matchup? So the Blood Angels matchup. It feels like without terrain, the T-Sons just have a field day. But with good terrain, the Blood Angels can hang.
Yeah, I think that's actually the case. Like you can get up there and put pressure on them. I actually don't think Blood Angels have that much of a problem with that Thousand Suns. But it's like when finding them in that match in that right mission or whatever, it could be a little bit different. But
and you gotta have the whirlwind. You gotta have the whirlwind.
You actually do. So So if you've got the whirlwind and you're geared to score points when you die, or whatever, and you take the secondary. I mean, geared by that, you have Death Company in your army that allow you to get over there and maybe score points off Relentless Assault and dying at the same time, so you can kind of get ahead and then play a very patient game, which is not always the virtue of Blood Angel players, including myself. That is more of a you got to feel like maybe I don't charge for a couple of turns, and you just don't play many games like that. Then it goes to the Blood Angels every time if you can line that up. So this is the point where, again, we get that palate cleanser we're talking about. We invite production onto the show, read us a series of questions or topics or whatever. We give ourselves 2 minutes. Whoa, what that new logo?
Whoa! Fire!
Yeah, look at that. I'm surprised it's not 3 trash cans burning. But
there could be trash cans in there. Yeah.
We had a question in chat where the Castellans of the Rift stuff can be found. It's in White Dwarf. Imperium Nihilus, Vigilus Defiant.
Oh, there we go. I thought it was the one in the White Dwarf, but I guess that was the
is it?
Tomb Raider or Tomb something. So I don't know.
White Dwarf 5 or something. Maybe I'm wrong. No, sorry, I'll keep looking.
It is not in the Space Marine Codex. It is in some type of supplement and or a White Dwarf. We'll try to get that to it. But here in the Flagrant Rapido, so when Tech Priest Dicky comes on, glad you made it.
Hello.
Touching.
Yeah, no, that name almost killed me there. It was bad. It was bad.
To give us a series of topics, and we give ourselves 2 minutes to run down each topic. Get some chat can participate as well. Once the clock stops, we stop talking about that topic and move on to the next one. Some of these things, by the way, have very little to do with Warhammer 40,000. When I mentioned that we have this is the palate cleanser at the end of a very crunchy episode talking about the meta, talking about y'all being the meta, how to beat the meta, what you're seeing all around the world. This is kind of just unwind here at the end of the show, and we have fun doing it.
Have you guys been playing Darktide? Is the first question, and I'll turn the timer on officially. Boop, there you go.
Oh, I haven't, but I want to.
Yeah.
I have, but I have only done the startup. I've only done the intro. I've done all the little bits. I haven't actually just jumped into a game yet. Haven't had I want like a clean 2 hours where there's nothing else I have to do. I just haven't had that yet.
I'm in the middle of finishing up Vermintide 2.
Wow, that's
nice.
You're a bit backlogged.
Yeah, I don't have time to play as many games as I'd like to, with Warhammer being my main hobby.
Paul, you know what you're gonna play?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
When I get into it, look if the characters that I've seen are the starting characters, I'll probably start with the Ogre and then go from there.
Yeah.
Why did I know you were gonna pick the Ogre?
I picked Acadian, just a grunt, but I called him Thade after the main character in Acadian Blood. Oh. So that's who I'm going for.
No,
I do want to play. I haven't gotten like a PS5 yet or anything. I want to get one.
What about you, Dustin? Who are you picking?
Oh, I'm trying to remember who the Psyker was.
That's just a generic Psyker.
Just a generic, right? An actual just Psyker. I want to do a Psyker.
And just call him Magus, and off you go.
Exactly, it would be a Magus.
I wonder what DLC you need to get for an extra arm. Just put an extra arm on the side.
There's got to be something.
There's got to be.
You're playing. That's the thing why I'm so excited. Is like, all right, I get to play some GSC. Yeah,
fair enough. All right, I think that's solved. All right.
Look, the War Mistress doesn't recognize Adam Camilleri because he has sleeves on.
It's true. It's a shame. I'll tear him off right now.
So this is a generic question. What's your favorite video game of all time?
Final Fantasy VII, hands down. I can tell you.
Oh, you're one of those people.
One of those.
One of those.
You're one of those. People.
Wow.
It's a very good. That's one of the greatest games of all time. Thank you very much.
Really
it's not my favorite, but it's one of the best. That isn't also a very good game, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
right there.
Huge fan of video games in general, but and there are a bunch you could call favorite, but Final Fantasy VII is amazing.
Come on, Dustin, what you got? Come on, big shot. What's your favorite?
Big shot. You think I'm a big shot because of that now?
Too good for Final Fantasy VII. Hey, too good for Cloud.
I didn't say it was bad. I didn't say that. I just said one of those.
You seen the movie?
One of those.
Have you seen Advent Children? Have you seen Advent Children?
I've seen Advent Children.
Have you seen? Have you
played the
seen
Final Fantasy VII remake?
Yes, I have.
Of course I have. I'm
I'm
saying this is the best game out there. But you do all this stuff involved with it. 6 is amazing. I love 6.
6 is good. Yeah.
I love 6. I loved 8.
I like that.
The best game of all time for me, and there's a couple of like top 3 I have, but the best one probably gonna be Mass Effect 2 specifically.
Not bad. Not
best
bad.
game of all time, and that's up there with like Link to the Past.
Was
Link
it
to the Past,
gameplay
like,
or story for Mass Effect?
both? It was I had to do the whole package because I played through that. I put so many hours into that one when it came out and beyond because it was had so much replay value. I loved it.
Yeah, and when I say close second, also is like going back to like Super Mario Brothers and then and the Zelda games. It's
Adam,
there's a bunch in competition.
Was you okay, buddy?
How much time we got left?
Yeah, we're out.
No time.
No time.
We'll never know.
Never know. What notorious video game have you never played?
What's that one?
League of Legends.
It's like they're like overly cartoony.
You are not missing anything. Don't do it.
Well, I was a huge MOBA player. Dota 1, I almost went semi-pro at Dota 1. Was really big into Dota 2 and into HON, Heroes of New Earth.
Heroes of New Earth, I played that one, yeah.
I still think that's the best MOBA they've ever done. The true, Dota 2 inheritor. But yeah, they never played League of Legends. No, not once.
That's good.
Was it Borderlands? That's the thing in the game I was trying to think about. I've
Really?
not played Borderlands, yeah.
Okay.
Joust, Joel Atkinson. Okay, that was
I
a while ago.
I think a lot of people that are listening to this show right now probably haven't played Joust. For me, jeez. See, the funny part is I was laughing when this was first said because up to a year and a half ago, I'd never played Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, see, this is why you didn't play it as a mid-teens.
It has
the issue.
no nostalgic value
man,
for me.
okay.
I started playing it the first time I started having to do fetch quests. Like, come on,
Dude,
figured it out.
no spoilers or whatever, but there's when a certain character dies, that's the end of a CD. You have to take a CD out and put in another CD, but you don't because you had to sit there and stare at the screen and figure out.
Wow,
did
it
this
was an
just happen?
Optimus. It was an Optimus Prime moment. It really was. And if you didn't, I understand why you're so weird now, Dustin. It's all.
That's so weird. Because I didn't. Oh, I almost said the name of the character that died. Because I didn't cry at that. I didn't oh my god, I can't change the CD. Like, no, I didn't. I didn't feel anything. I was like, cool, let's go. Let's skip through this.
See, that's in Advent Children. When the hand goes to throws them up.
Yes, I know. I saw.
If you didn't play Final Fantasy at a formative part of your life, you're just weird.
And I never played Elden Ring. There you go.
Oh,
that's fair. Yeah,
that was a good game.
I never played I still haven't played Skyrim. It's true.
No, that's a good one.
Who is your go-to character in Mario Kart or Super Smash Bros?
This is a good Fuego. I like
this. This is a great Fuego.
Yeah.
This is like the best one we've ever done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is
good
great.
job, whoever did this.
Yeah, fantastic work.
Mario Kart, typically Toad or Mario.
I'm a Wa player, Waluigi or Wario, either.
Oh.
See, I usually do like Wario in the tennis games with the sports games for some reason. But if I'm going in Mario Kart, it's usually from the beginning been Koopa Troopa.
Nice.
It's Donkey Kong, both for Smash and the kart for me.
For Smash, no, Smash is
Donkey
Link.
Kong. It's just winding up that punch. That's all I want to do.
I'm a Link player
wind up
through
that
and
punch.
through. Doesn't matter what Link. It can be Toon Link.
No,
regular Link,
wind
Dark
up that
Link, I don't
punch.
care.
Wind up. That punch.
Where's? Okay, yeah. So this isn't Smash. Never mind.
What?
No, this isn't Smash.
Oh,
this is
we can call Smash. Yeah,
Sure, we got time. Go do Smash.
go.
What's your character in
Link.
Smash?
yeah.
I play Fox.
Oh, you're a Fox player.
Cheese. Well, sorry. At least it's not a Kirby player. Filth. Absolute filth of the universe, Kirby players.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
Or
Link or Samus is a
Samus.
Samus. Okay.
I like
I
Samus.
do Link or it's the newest one, Mega Man. I love Mega Man.
Oh, Mega Man's awesome.
Mega Man's awesome.
All this nostalgia coming back. I remember calling Nintendo Power back when you had a hotline, just
Yeah.
talking to people about video games.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, how many times? What's the record on beating Metroid in a row without dying? They're like, I don't know, 5. I'm like, I beat it 16 times in a row. And I did.
I don't know, 5.
Get that beat. Put me in a place somewhere.
Put me in a
I
magazine.
don't know the answer to that. Who is this kid?
Yeah. It's like 10 cents a minute, right, kid?
Way to go. All right. This was a weird one when I read it. Maybe you guys will have. What 40K game designer would design the best video game?
What 40K game designer, or you mean just game designer in general?
What 40K game designer? This is the question.
I know. I don't want to.
Do you want to change it? Do you want to?
Oh, it's like
do you want to take a mulligan?
studio? What studio would we wish would design a Warhammer 40,000 game?
Sure.
I'm trying. Well,
Yeah.
who are? Sorry, someone prompt me. Who are some known 40K game designers?
Well, there aren't any. Yeah, we don't know who they are.
You
Let's
don't
check
know
about
their
like
names.
Codex guys, but I only know like
You
one.
want to play?
Yeah. So change the game.
You
So
want to play?
Change the narrative here.
change the narrative. So to make it like video game designer would be the best 40K game.
Okay, that's better. Let's do that. Restart the clock.
Definitely EA to get the true representation of the 41st
EA.
millennium.
Oh,
EA.
come on,
EA.
Adam. Get out of here.
Nothing,
With EA.
nothing. Everything's terrible. The
Oh
experience
my
sucks,
God.
just like being in the 41st millennium.
Oh my
Just like
God,
it's
you're
like
gonna
you're right. It's
ruin
like
the
you're
whole
right
thing.
there
That's
as a servitor.
Oh,
So
That is
who-
the worst answer you could have possibly given?
Who designed the original Castlevania game?
That's
Is it-
Capcom.
Capcom. Yeah.
Is it Capcom or
Capcom.
Konami or something? Or
It's not Konami. I don't
it's
think
Capcom, I
Capcom.
think.
Pretty sure Castlevania is Capcom, isn't it?
I don't know.
It might be Konami.
It's one of those.
well, we'll have to
those
look it up after the play
CCKs.
go. I like to have these types of debates where where we have this is what we miss with the electronic age, figuring out who's right without having to look at the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. That's
100%.
because I love Castlevania. But you think they would be able to do a good?
Are
I
they
mean,
even a-
It is Konami. It's for 100% Konami.
Yeah, it's like what
Konami.
would design the best. I mean, a game you remember, you'd think about forever. Like there's why not? I mean, Bethesda also.
Oh, so you're talking about like RPG or side scrollers right now. Like I want.
Total War, like a Total War 40K game.
Well, we have Total War Fantasy. I don't feel that 40K would be the same. It could be the same as that. 40K needs to be more. Like you ever play the Dawn of War series? Like those were actually really good.
The first
Those were
one
really
was,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did the first one. Not 2 was fun and epic, but it wasn't. The
3 was
gameplay was
rough.
wonky. And 3, there is
I mean,
no 3.
Gears
So,
of
I
War
feel
certainly it's got some inspiration. Let's just say probably from Warhammer.
Yeah.
40K.
So if it's gonna be a shooter, whoever made Halo. If it's gonna be an
Microsoft?
RTS, I want it to be Cave Dog, who made Total Annihilation. I feel like they would make the best RTS 41st Millennium game.
I still feel like THQ did a great job, but unfortunately, they're not a thing.
What did they make?
They made Dawn of War, the original.
Oh, the original. The original was. Did they only do the first one, right?
Yeah, they only did the first one.
Which was the best one. So yeah.
All right. What game should be played on Grim After Dark next? So they just played the
100% they need to play Diablo 2 and do an Iron Man run to level 9 and then kill each other.
Oh, or just
Ooh.
do the cow level.
Dude, Danny and John quipping while they smash cows would be hilarious.
I was gonna say Dawn of War 3.
The original Dawn of Wars. That would be better.
Okay. Alright.
That would be pretty good. Like,
Dawn of
especially
War
if they're
2,
playing
Dawn of War
against
2
each other.
campaign's actually not bad. Like you could do Dawn of War 2 campaigns, 2 of them. That'd be.
I would love to see them play Dawn of War against each other. They can't see each other's screens, but we can see both.
That would be good. Yeah,
That'd be sick. That'd be really good.
but I'm a huge fan of watching like RTS games, so I'm a little biased in that, but for sure.
You know what the actual answer is? Warhammer Fantasy. Bang bang.
Give
Yeah, I
me
mean,
What was that?
You're not
old
production
riled up.
Wasn't there an old DOS game that you played? It was it Vampires or something?
Vamp what?
It was like a weird
Oh.
RTS game. It was so old, like Shadow of the Rat. or
RTS,
something.
a DOS RTS game?
Yeah,
What?
it was a Warhammer one. I can't remember.
A
the name.
Warhammer DOS RTS
Yeah.
game.
I'm-
I don't believe
may
it.
be
Never heard
I
of it.
may be showing my age.
Oregon Trail would be a good one too.
Ooh, that'd be really good,
Yep.
actually.
Be up there. Also, Bomberman. Anybody remember Bomberman?
Of course.
Yeah,
it would.
obviously.
Or oh no, sorry, this is gonna win it for me actually. Streets of Rage.
Streets
Okay.
of Rage, so good.
Co-op. Streets of Rage.
well,
or Double
but you can
Dragon.
actually punch your
Either.
partner in that, right?
Yes,
Friendly
exactly.
Fire
Friendly
is on.
Fire is
Yeah.
on. It needs to be there to add the X factor.
Streets of Rage was great. That was a great game. All of them. And the newest one's even, it's awesome too. It's worth getting.
I do need a new computer, Kevin. You're right. I don't know why this thing continues to live, but it does. Fuego! I think that's it, boys. We're done.
Oh, well, look.
Oh, we did it.
What a show. It's been a fun one. Thanks for everybody participating in the chat. It's always a pleasure. And Dustin, Adam, Dicky, it's been a blast. We're going to be, this isn't over. We got a few more shows for the end of the year. And we could do, I don't know, we're going to do a recap. We don't have to look back and figure out, when we were right, because we were right, I'm sure, all the time.
We could just start telling some of the tales of some of the people who've won so far at the big super majors this year. What have they won with? What would that list updated to the current meta look like now? That kind of stuff. Yeah, so if we do find we're scraping the bottom of the barrel event-wise, we might only be doing one event for a weekend, and then we'll fill it with some awesome stuff.
Yeah, just come hang out with us. Certainly appreciate that as well. Seriously, thanks a lot for everybody. Check out our sponsors. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out the other shows. We actually talked a little bit about the other shows during the Fuego, but check out the other shows on the Frontline Gaming Network. Got lots of cool people over there talking about cool things. Warhammer related most of the time is from
most of the time.
And we'll see y'all next week.
See you, buddy.